Okay, so after some diagnosis, figured that the water pump is bad. We got to get in here and change this water pump out. It's going to take a few steps, so just to kind of cover some of what's going to happen. This is not in order. Going to have to lift the vehicle. Going to remove this tire, have better access. Going to remove this entire air filter housing, and all that will be out the way. We're going to have to drain the coolant. It's probably the first thing I'll do. Is we've got to drain the coolant, and also we're gonna have to lift up the engine or put some secure under the engine with a jack and a block to make sure the engine doesn't fall when we remove the mount here. Also gonna have to remove that serpentine belt. So lots to do. Take it step by step. So here we go. First thing I'm gonna do is lift up this vehicle and put it on some jacks. So we'll get it lifted up. That way we can maybe get this wheel off for starters. I know that I'm on grass. This is just where I live. It's not ideal. I'm supposed to do this on a hard surface, hard flat surface, but this is what it is for me. So before I actually start jacking it up, I'm going to remove, I'm already going to at least loosen these lug nuts here. Okay, so again, not recommended. Grass and soft surface is not the best, but this is where I'm at. I have 3 jacks holding it up, and I have a tire underneath, which is almost covering the entire gap. So any kind of failure, hopefully we should be okay. Plenty of support. So let's jump into the vehicle now, and one of the first things I want to do is go ahead and just drain this fluid. Drain the coolant. So let's do it. And I've got this tire off. I'm now going to drain it. Drain the coolant. So to drain the coolant, I'm going to use this 1/2 wrench. And right underneath here, you may have a big plastic piece, but mine is not even here. It broke off. I need to get a replacement splash guard. But anyway, I don't have that right now. But if we come underneath the vehicle, and I'll just kind of show you here. So here's the front of the vehicle. You just go okay, this is the front of the vehicle. I'm gonna go straight underneath here, kind of towards the passenger side. And what do we have here? Right here, that's the drain. And there is a bolt that holds it in right here. See how it's coming out there? See that drain? That's the coolant. And it's a 1/2 inch little drain bolt on the side. And you can loosen that with a wrench here. Okay, so I removed this. This is the drain bolt. And then we're going to relieve some more pressure here. See that? Now the coolant has been drained, car's lifted up. This wheel is a passenger side wheel removed in the front. I'm going to go ahead and remove the air filter housing and all that. Pretty easy. Just going to remove this. There's a little button you can press on the bottom. It comes out. I'm going to loosen this here, the flathead screwdriver. And then we'll just remove this right here. Come right out. Just like that. This will come out here. It's just kind of attached. It's attached here. It goes in here. And it's attached into here, but it'll just pop right out. Place this right here. Okay. And now put a wood block and kind of secure the engine. Okay, that way the engine will not fall. What we're going to do now is remove this mount. This is going to loosen them up a little bit. Coming off pretty easy. What I had to do now, next thing you got to do is raise up the engine with your jack just high enough so that this top bolt to the water pump clears enough room that you can put in your T45. See that? It goes in there. And then we're able to loosen these. First you got to loosen one. You've got to move, spin it a bit. And I'll show you. I'm able to move the drive belt a little bit. It's kind of hard to get it in there. Just enough to get this bolt to a place where I can actually reach it. See that? And then once I get that loose, we'll turn it again so I can get each one loose. So I've got this one loose here. This is where I need them to be. Now I can take this, it's connected to the drive here. Watch this. See that? Moved it. It's going to move it enough so that the next one is where this one was. If that makes sense. A little bit more maybe. Okay. That's pretty good. Now I can reach it very nicely. Okay. So this one's nice and loose. I'm going to move it. So I've just moved, slowly turned the engine so that I can get to each of these 3 water pump bolts. So you removed one entire bolt, there's 2 more in here. I just wanted to get them real loose, like so I can move them by hand. I'm not going to take them all the way out. I probably could, but I'm going to go ahead and take off the belt now. And it'll be just free to remove those last 2. Should come out by hand. And then we're making big progress. You need a 19mm torque wrench, something you can get some torque behind it. So let's check this out. So scooched over here, and this right here is where we're looking at. This is where you're going to release the tension and be able to remove this belt. So you put it on. I'll just show you here without actually removing the belt. See if we can actually figure it out here. Hold it back here, and you're going to go counterclockwise. Okay, so I got it on 19mm. And go counterclockwise, and it does this. See that? See the belt gets loose, right? Tight, loose. So what I'm going to do is with one hand, I'm going to pull here, and with my other hand, I'm going to remove this belt. Okay, I got the belt off, and I can finish what I was doing here. These 2 are going to come right out because I had them ready to go. And look at that. Okay. This looks fine here. So now reverse torque, E10, to get to the bolts for the water pump. 3 easy ones right here on the top to get to. And now an E10, reverse torque, and they come out pretty easily for the water pump bolts. See that? Just get them a little loose, come right out. I gotta get a shorter E10, so we're gonna continue this tomorrow. I can't get to the bolts without an E10. All I have is this longer one. I got 2 of them. I can't get to the other 4, but it's okay. We're making progress. Okay, it's a new day, and we do have some shorter inverse torque sockets here. So this way, I'm able to get to those other bolts. So with the E10 reverse torque, I'm able to get to all the remaining bolts. There's a total of 5 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and then there's a 5th bolt right here down on the bottom right. And that should get this out. Now by hand I can just get it out. It's going longer than I hoped. Okay. So you have 5 bolts here removed. Let's see what happens here. Still not coming out. I thought it would come right out, but it didn't, so I'm going to get a little screwdriver to help it. Some coolant comes out, but we're going to pry that out. Okay, so use the screwdriver to kind of pry it out. There it comes. And there it is. Okay, there is the old water pump. Okay, was in like this, right? It's pretty easy to tell because it's a strange shape, so it's pretty easy to tell which way it goes in and which, how it comes out. The new one will go in. Got some water on the, and some coolant got on the compressor. Let's kind of clean that off. Okay, so we have the brand new O-ring. Make sure that's in there nice. So the O-ring is seated nicely in there. Just gonna kind of put it in properly, and then we'll just put that top bolt just to get it. I'm gonna put a top bolt in there right here just to get it connected. And then we're just going to put this one in crisscross the bolts. Make sure the O-ring is seated nicely. We're going to put the bolts in kind of a crisscross style, and make sure it's nice, tight, and in there nicely. Okay, now we're putting this back in. So let's put the bolts in. Put back on the pulley, the best part. Now, I don't want to tighten them all the way yet. This is the part where you have to turn the crankshaft to try to get each bolt in the proper place to be able to tighten it. So we're going to start by just putting this on, and we'll put in each of the bolts just kind of loosely. So I have one bolt to the pulley kind of through with my right hand. I'm holding it in. I'm just going to kind of balance it and place it in the right spot. Try to get it in one of the holes here, and then just kind of screw it in with my right hand. Okay, so I got it in there. It's just hanging there. I don't want to tighten it until we put the belt on, and we can freely spin it and get each of the 3 bolts in there. Before I put the belt on, I'm going to try to tighten them best I can a little bit. It may be easier not having to turn the crankshaft, but technically for the 1.8 you're supposed to put the crankshaft on first, just like the reversal, and then kind of spin the crankshaft and do one at a time. That way it won't spin the pulley here, the water pump pulley, while you're trying to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and just try to tighten them as best I can. Okay, so I was able to get them pretty tight, just kind of holding the pulley in place. Don't damage it. Don't try to do anything crazy. But we can tighten them the rest of the way. Make sure they're nice and tight after putting the belt back on. But that's pretty much it. So now just put your serpentine belt back, and you're good to freaking go. Make sure all 3 bolts are nice and tight here to the pulley. You have to turn the crankshaft to get each of these bolts, and then of course drop the engine back down to the proper level, and then just put everything back together, your mount and everything else, your tire, and we'll be good to go. So just one last note here, make sure to lower this down with your jack very slowly, very carefully, and it should just drop real slow, and then you stop it a couple times till you get, of course, your mount here back where it's supposed to be level. So that's it. That's how you install a water pump on a 1.8 liter Chevrolet Sonic. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.